positive energy and good vibes. I mean, that's who I am. Being positive despite what you're going through and what adversities you may face in life. You get the most in life by how you are as a person and how you treat others, no matter what the circumstances are that we're going through.
It's been over 2 years since I made the journey to go to a plant-based diet, and I wanted to do a series from a perspective of what can the foods that we bring into our bodies do for us in terms of changing our energies and how our consciousness can possibly be affected by it. On this first episode in this series, I feature ThemJoneses. They've cooked for so many great people, from John Bourne to Jamie Foxx, but their journey wasn't always perfect. In this interview, we talk about their experiences and how they overcame depression, to how they interact and got through the challenges of being an interracial couple, to even discussing their concepts of the word fear. Positive Talk, episode 2, ThemJoneses, right now. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Positive Talk with Amechi. I'm very pleased to be here in the residence of ThemJoneses.
Really?
And for the people who don't know, could you guys both start off and say a little bit about who you are? And I want to know how you guys met.
Yeah.
Just tell me about that connection.
Yes, well, we're the Joneses, we're the ones who founded and started Conscious Concoction. I'm the head chef and CEO. This is my beautiful wife right here. She's Jess Karen Jones. She's basically the backbone of the whole business. And she oversees the whole process, of the business, marketing, and management side. Wow, where can I start from,
Where we met.
Yeah. yeah.
So we met in high school.
Wow.
He came to one of the homecoming games at my school and somehow got my number from a friend and never stopped texting me since then. Here we are 10 years later.
Yeah.
Somehow, that's the key. I'm always interested in how people came together, and it's really great that you guys have been together for so long, because I actually wanted to start with before the business, before where you guys are at now, even beginning both of your processes together in terms of the joint curiosity for, getting into, natural and, positive ways of living your life, honestly, to begin with, and then getting into food. What made that curiosity kind of ignite for you guys?
Honestly, I can say, by starting off by, knowing exactly how we wanted to live our lives, and knowing exactly, how healthy we wanted to be, and just being curious on, what's actually out there, that we don't know about, whether it's, in the foods, or whether it's, in any aspect in life, so I can say, we really pride ourselves on natural healing from the get-go, from since I can remember. I have friends, that tell me stories and remind me stories of when we were in high school, on how I used to, go crazy about them on eating natural foods, and so, just giving me those flashbacks reminds me that, I've been thinking of that, since 15, 16, easily, And,
Yeah. And I think when we first started living together, I naturally I'm East Indian, so I come from a background where my grandmothers and my mom and my aunties, they're really strong on just holistic healing, and we'd come home from the doctors and throw our medicine away and go put on some turmeric or do something natural. So when we got together, we went through a lot of pain together. We're losing grandfathers and loved ones, and both of us lost our grandfathers to something that we like to call a man-made disease.
Yeah.
So it really made us just start looking into and researching what the government's feeding us and what they've been feeding our brains and our minds, and we were actually living in LA at the time.
Exactly.
So it was a huge eye-opening thing. We were both still in college, and we started doing a lot of research, and people around us started thinking we were crazy because of just stuff we started believing and how we started living
And putting
changing
out there into the world.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it was just our own journey. You know, it wasn't something that we were striving or searching for. It kind of just led us there. Is we wanted to find a way to help our family and the world heal themselves, and like you said, it ended up being through food, which was a blessing. So we're just grateful to be where we're at.
And you mentioned like some of the cultural influences that helped really in the process, from seeing what your family kind of instilled in you. And Elijah, you can also speak to any cultural background if you want.
Exactly.
But I wanted to get to that seemed to be a foundation for understanding some of the principles and some of the questioning and inner curiosity for a healthier way of living, and more so like using organic and natural methods, whether it's through food or through other sources. But can you talk about early on in that process for you guys, like just the dichotomy of having that, but then also being in America and being in the society that we're in, and kind of just like the balance of your inner curiosities and whatnot, but then also being in reality,
Wow, I can say, being in a interracial couple, and her specifically being, Indian, it was rough. It was rough. There was a lot of hurdles, that we had to get through, but I believe, we wouldn't be here right now, if it wasn't for the struggles that we had to go through. And I can say, as far as, with the natural, holistic approach, to everything, I can say, we just wanted to know the truth, and what was going on, and what we're eating, and what's in our everyday air, you know what I mean, and just what we're drinking, so just to be able to be intact with a whole different culture, that's already instilled in that, and that's already using natural, holistic products straight from the earth, just to, feed their family, just to use everyday comfort foods, but also heal, that sparked the interest, that definitely sparked the interest, and that kept us together a lot, and I can say, food kept us together a lot, yeah.
I think you say, relating it back to reality, I remember when we first started just diving into holistic healing and what natural food can do for the human body, and we started sharing it with the people that were really close to us, and we started getting a lot of negative feedback.
Yeah.
And there was a moment in time where, we had to really take life by the horns and start living what we were preaching. So we were putting a lot of messaging out to the world of how to heal themselves and what to do to better themselves. And it came to a point where we were like, we have to start living this way if this is the message we want to get across.
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't have any major, diseases or illnesses, but we've had minor things like allergies and sinuses and thyroids that we've actually cured ourselves at home.
And real sicknesses, real colds, real flus, that me personally, I grew up on medicines, my whole family know exactly how much medicine I had to, take as a kid, say 6-7 pills a day, so for me not to be able to use, the man-made medicine pharmaceuticals, but also just be able to use a natural, a substance, to help me heal myself and actually go through the process, weather the storm, it just gives me even more faith, in the substances, that helped me as well, just continue, to do my homework on it, and just to learn as much as I can on each property, just to use it within my foods, yeah.
Wow. A lot of the listeners of the podcast, a lot of the people tapped in, I think, the community and just people in general, a lot of times they may hear stories of people who found their purpose, found their higher calling, and all those sort of things, but they may struggle with how they listen or how do they take in direction for what they should do. And I know that's something that you spoke on before about, like both of you, you know, listening to the world and kind of taking note of what you felt like the direction of, you know, that higher energies were calling you to do. Can you talk about a little bit about that process of how that happened for you guys?
Yes. So we're two very spiritual people, you know, and we come from, you know, two different parts of the world, you know. So for us, for me, I was raised in the church, you know, services, you know, Monday through Sunday, you know, praying every day, you know, leading prayers, you know, for my cousins and, you know, friends and family, you know. So we're very spiritual people, you know. And I can say for her, you know, she, you know, started off, you know, praying with her mother, you know, and going to church, you know, twice as much, you know, and you can catch them praying, you know, in the middle of the night, you know, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, praying, you know, and you know, so that just molded into our spirits, you know, and as we kept growing, and then we found each other, I can say, you know, we just accepted it, you know. We didn't exactly know exactly who we were as people, you know, but I can say, you know, it's just wonderful just to be able to accept, you know, the process, you know, and just to see where it takes you. So I can tell people out there, you know, just to accept it, you know, and don't turn back from it, you know, don't shy away from it. Don't shy away from it.
Even if there's failure, if you're facing hurdles. And I quite honestly, I think where we are now in our journey is, if you're not facing hurdles and you're not failing, then you're probably doing something wrong. So take those failures and take that to acknowledge and learn and do better from it. I think our business has been an idea for so many years, and one day we were just like, we have to go get an LLC and just do this. So putting it out into the world, we would notice we put tidbits out in the world, and the world's asking us for tenfold more. And it's just the two of us, so we tried to do blogs and all these different things, and it just soon came to where people want our services from our hands. You know, they want to see the people that are telling them what to do. They're the ones that are curating these dishes and these recipes. And I think it wasn't until the first trip to the East Coast, right?
Yes.
Is when we took our first business trip. When we came back, we realized that we had to turn this into a business. And within the next couple of weeks, we came up with a business name, turned into an LLC.
Exactly.
We started our services. And I think it was one of those things where you talk about turning things into reality. You actualize it for so long and you vision it for so long, and one day you wake up and your dreams, they just literally turn into reality, and it's your choice to keep going with it or let the fear hold you back. Where, I mean, we wake up every day, we have different types of events, and I won't lie, we have fear, you know, fear of failing and all of that, but we just find a way to overcome it.
You know, and I believe, you know, what you put out there into the world, you will get it back, you know. So if you're investing in yourself and you have, you know, the utmost faith in what you're going to put out there, and you're pushing it out there, you know, with nothing but positive love, then, oh man, like, you're going to create something so beautiful, you know, that the world needs, you know. And that's, you know, that's what we focus on, you know. So everything that we do, we try not to overthink it, you know, and we just try to keep it, you know, as closely intact as when we started, you know. So as simple as, you know, cooking your everyday meals, but cooking it in a much more organic, holistic way, you know, so you can enjoy them, you know. So whether your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your aunties, your uncles, you know, your little nieces can have organic chicken nuggets if they want, you know, and it's just in a much more holistic approach,
And you both spoke on it a little bit just right now, but you know, you have that listening to what the world is telling you to do, and then you basically do it. Like you mentioned, put in the work, get your hands a little dirty, and get into it. So talk a little bit more about what you're doing for the world. Like specifically, what is the business? What is, and even beyond the business, this seems like a business similar to mine, where, and I think a lot of things in this sort of realm of positivity and all that, it's more than the business. You know,
more than just the food.
You know, it's never gonna stop growing. You know, like like we're gonna put ourselves in a position where, you know, we can put out as much positivity into the world as possible. Even when we're gone, our platform is going to be there, you know, for the earth to consume, you know, and for people to learn from, you know, and grow from, you know, and I don't see that having a standstill, you know, and I see us putting us in a position where, you know, we can be able to touch as many people as possible, you know, whether it's through our services, you know, through our speeches, you know, through our private events, you know, we're gonna make sure that, you know, we specialize, you know, in healing you, you know, whether it's mentally, spiritually, you know, or just a nice organic plate of food, you know,
And just to back off of what he said is, I think a lot of the dishes that we do curate is we try to take into consideration what our audience or our clients want. So working on different events and different high-end clients, everyone likes something different. So what we've kind of figured out and what we like to offer is a variety to everyone. We haven't just put ourselves into one specific category as far as what type of food we offer. So it's really allowed us to show people that the journey of food is something that evolves as you grow and as you age. And like you mentioned, one of our main goals is to help people become healthier and live longer and be able to spend more time with their family and spend less time in drive-thrus and trying to get conventional food and teach them how to cook food or hire us to cook for them. So just putting it out into the world, I feel like where we're at right now is we've been doing a lot of meal preps for a lot of different types of clients, a lot of private catering as well. One of the things that has really picked up and we both really enjoy doing is a private chef services, where we go into a client's house and we pretty much prepare the food for them in their kitchen. And it allows the clients to enjoy the food in the comfort of their own home. So we've kind of just allowed our business to grow with our clients. So not really putting a ceiling to what we can do, and that's why every day we get new opportunities that open up for us. So it's just been an exciting journey, and I would tell anyone that's listening, that's starting their own business, whether it's by themselves or with their life partner, is you have to keep going. Is if you figure out what your passion is and you figured out what the world wants, what you have to offer, never stop, because you will be broke. You will have days where you want to quit. There will be days where you want to go back to a 9-to-5, but we know that our life is bigger than that, and what our purpose is bigger than that. So I think it just comes back to is you get back from the world what you give to the world, you know? So we just try to put out the most positive we can with what we have. You
know, and just coming from, you know, where we have to come from, you know, it's only easier, you know, it only makes it easier, you know, and I really believe, you know, as speaking as a chef, you know, and I've accepted my position, you know, as a chef, you know, and my caliber, you know, and I believe in the food game, there's always room to grow, you know. There's, you know, some of your most, you know, cemented chefs out there, you know, that's still evolving into new trades, you know. So I can say with our business, there's so much that we're offering. It allows us, you know, to, you know, just to continue to grow within our business, whether it's, you know, learning new dishes or, you know, learning new people, you know, or getting just accustomed, you know, just to a whole new environment. You know, that we set off to give you the experience for it.
Beautifully said. You know, when you're talking, I have so many questions coming into my head right now, like throwing me off right now. But I actually was just listening to a podcast, I believe it was Invest Like the Best, and somebody was speaking about how, you know, the food industry is becoming like the new cultural cool thing, you know, where it's like, it's almost like how the music industry used to be, where people would collect records and that was like the cool thing, like, oh, I have this record, but now, like, it's exactly right, check me out, but now it's kind of so widespread with that, it doesn't really have that cachet. But, you know, San Francisco, like the Bay Area where I'm from, it's like, you go to a restaurant and it's like, people know the chefs, you know, they know the chef's name. It's like,
you know the stories.
Right, they know the stories, they're looking at is this a Michelin, is this a, you know, just what's the criteria. Sometimes it's hard to even get a seat, like in a lot of these, you know, restaurants. But it's the cool thing to do, you get this cachet when you go. I just want you to maybe say a few words about like this current culture we're in and like being a chef and like, because I see, you know, we're gonna get to some of the things you've done and your clients and things like that you work with, you know, further along the podcast. But I just want you to say a few words about this current culture.
Oh my gosh, you know, like, so I can say I'm maybe 3 years fresh into, you know, this chef culture, and I can say it's wonderful. I've stepped into an environment, you know, that's just like you said, it's almost like the entertainment business, you know. I've never seen so much respect, you know, given to chefs and giving, you know, to the elegant dishes, you know, that chefs put out there, you know, for the world to see. And I love it. I'm really embracing it, and it's taking chefs, you know, to a place that they haven't really been yet. You know, it's taking them, you know, to places where, you know, maybe they have buddies, you know, that's movie stars or, you know, rap stars or, you know, professional athletes, and it's giving them a platform to basically get together, you know, and correlate together, you know, and put out something, you know, that's yet, you know, to hit the surface, you know, and I believe that's like a new album, you know, it's like a new album. Like me watching a new episode of, you know, Munchies is like me listening to a new album, you know, that's released, you know, and just being able to see, you know, a Gordon Ramsay, you know, teamed up with a local Hell's Kitchen chef, you know, and being able to see them, you know, build restaurants together, you know, and, you know, just do episodes together, you know, and just be the everyday hustle and bustle, you know, and it just gives people, you know, this sense of idea on how big, like, the chef life really is and is becoming, you know, so I can say personally, you know, for me being a chef and all the chefs out there, we're loving it, you know. We're loving, you know, the new atmosphere, you know, that is bringing in all the new opportunities, you know, that's coming with it, you know. And it's just only allowing us, you know, to showcase our talents in just a much more different way, you know, whether it's cooking with cannabis, you know, or whether it's, you know, cooking on a natural, holistic approach, you know. It's allowing chefs to use, you know, that platform to tap into a whole nother market, you know, that's fiending, you know, for everything that we have to offer.
Absolutely. And, you know, this is maybe a two-part sort of question, but before we started the podcast, one of the things you mentioned was, I don't remember exactly how you phrased it, you were saying something about simplicity. And how, like, you know, keep things simple, you know, like it doesn't have to be so complicated.
Exactly.
And for me, you know, coming up in July will be, you know, my 2-year vegan anniversary. And a big part of that for me has been like, you know, keeping things simple to a certain degree, even with my food selection, reducing what I'm gonna put into my body. And so, like, the decisions are made a lot easier when I'm at different places. Like, no, I can't have this, I can, you know, have this. And it makes things, you know, actually, like, people can look at it as a challenge, but for me, I actually kind of like having limited amount of choices and be able to just kind of, like, move. I want to go back to when we were at Tecton in LA. Shout out to those guys. That's the first time that I met both of you there. You were catering an event they were doing for John Bourne for his GOAT exhibit. It's funny, nothing's random. John Bourne was just texting me before we got on this podcast.
Nice.
But I wanted to bring back, if you remember, you guys were catering, the food looked great. I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. And I think somebody, I don't know if it was one of you, asked like, do you want one? I'm like, oh no, I can't have that. Like, it's good, I can't have that. And then later on, somebody's like, oh man, I can't believe this is vegan. I'm like, wait, this is vegan.
We get that so much.
I was like, I almost had a heart. I'm like, hold on, I just took a bunch of them, and it was so good. And it's like, it's funny because it's like, yes, keep things simple, but at the same time, when I talk to chefs like you and other, it's like there's so much you can do though, still to make things good, to make things tasty. Just talk about that concept of like simplicity, and then also just being able to make these creations out of like all these ingredients.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we learned that being as simple as possible. But just staying true to what we believe in, and that's pretty darn close to the Dr. Sebi diet. So staying firm in what we believe in, it'll only make it better. We tried. We've even done things that was done from previous others. That we weren't used to. Forcing it. So. Once we went back, to just doing what we really love to do, and just knowing that this is what we do, that's when we really started, to cook up. Yeah, and just, just the simplicity of, like turmeric and black pepper. A lot of people don't know, two substances like that, that will activate together, depending on how you're cooking it. It can target certain parts of the body, so, simply having a steak, if you're not vegan, simply having cauliflower if you are vegan, and, putting turmeric and black pepper on it, it will activate. And once substances like that activate, then you have, turmeric that's going to target the colon, for colon cancers, and just different digestive problems, within a body, whether it's IBS or whatever, the case may be, and just learning, what the seasonings can do. We only embraced it, and just knowing what the flavors can push out. We try putting, flavors together that never mixed, and got wonderful feedback, and created dishes that, were just wonderful, that we still create, the exact same, and we call them, concoctions, and.
So I think like being back to simple is like it goes back to your knowledge and what you know and how you apply that simplicity. I mean, simple could be having 10 cups of noodle ready, and that's what you have for dinner every night, but we kind of transformed it into, here's the list of ingredients that help the human body. Now, how do we take these, whatever, 20, 30, 40 ingredients and keep creating all of these dishes that we as humans love? So a lot of the times when we're cooking for clients, like you said, back to simplicity, is they never know that some of our dishes only have 5 or 6 ingredients. And it blows their mind. So it goes back to that knowledge of, here's the ingredients I used, here's how I mixed them together to create this dish. And it's, like he said, it's just staying true to our roots. As we started off, when we first started cooking together, is with natural ingredients. And when we started trying to give people what they actually like and took away from what we knew, we noticed that that's not the direction we wanted our business to go. So for us, it's always, let's just go back to the basics. We know that if you can grow something in your backyard with sunlight and water, then you can use that and cook it in a dish as well. How we currently live, a lot of the food we buy comes in boxes and cans, and it's already all of the nutrients are already derived, right? So I think when it comes to simplicity for us, is we just go back to the basics of what has God left us on this earth to use. What's not man-made, and what's not hybrid, and
how to shop.
Right. Exactly.
Like basic farmer markets, and pike markets and fresh butchers, and just how people started off way back then, you know, before it was all the grocery stores, you know, and whatnot, where you had to hit the local, you know, corner convenience store, where it was the only fresh food market in the whole town, you know. And so we like to just, you know, take that approach, you know, that much more simpler approach, you know, to going to the number one source, you know, to getting it. And whether it's, you know, having, you know, noodles or, you know, pastas, whatever the case may be, we love, you know, doing stuff like that, because that makes us and forces us to learn how to, you know, cook it, you know, in a much more rawer form, you know. So whether it's making noodles from the raw form, you know, with the, you know, real flours, you know, tapioca flours, et cetera, you know, and, you know, so there's a lot of dishes out there that people don't know that you can have, you know, but, and they also can be cooked in a much more real form, you know. So it's just being able to, you know, I guess accept, you know, and be curious almost, you know, be willing, you know, to try something new, you know. People know that it's good for you, you know. We got over that, you know. People know that organic food's good for you, but people still are under the impression that organic food is nasty. You know, when you say organic, it's like, oh yeah, I don't want organic. You know, kale and chips, I don't want that. You know, it's like, no, you know, it's not. You know, there's a long list of ingredients, you know, that you can have, whether being vegan, vegetarian, you know, and yeah, you know, we just always ask people, you know, just to start off by being organic, you know. So whether you're a meat lover or, you know, pescatarian, vegan, you know, we just want you to start off by using organic products, you know, made from the earth. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, another thing you were talking about before the podcast was, you know, about the idea, a lot of people say you have to, you know, see it to believe it. And I was saying how I feel like you have to believe it to see it, in terms of having that inner vision that this is going to happen. You know, I believe that this is going to happen. And when it does happen, I'm not going to be surprised, because I already said and I already decided that it was going to happen, period. And I think that even being here doing this podcast, it all started from the first time that I met you guys, because, you know, back to that LA event, the John Bourne event at Tecton, I felt your presence. I felt the energy. I felt the aura, and I was like, "Oh, this is like, we're gonna do an interview. Like, we're in Sacramento. Like, that's not even that far. We're gonna make that happen. Just a matter of when, you know." And so, I want to go back, like, you know, when I you know, met you guys, and then I looked through your Instagram, your social media, and some of your work. I'm seeing, you know, Jamie Foxx pop up. We were talking earlier about the Molly Mall. Like, could you just like say a few words about your ascension? And I want to even take that concept of, you know, believing it to see it for you guys, because you basically decided, you know, we want to give back to the world. We want to give back with a positive energy and with a good intent. And just like you mentioned earlier, you're going to get that back. And it seems like you guys have been living proof of that, seeing results and doing amazing things that, you know, you can only imagine, I'm sure, a few years ago. So just talk about some of the experiences you've had, and where do you think, you know, just looking even to the future a little bit, like, where do you think it's possible to go from here?
Yeah, the future is everlasting, you know, and
yeah, no ceiling.
Yeah, no ceiling. Yeah, you know, so yeah. But our ascend, you know, it's just been a big wow, you know. I can say, you know, we started off with an idea, you know, and we turned that idea into a physical thing, and then, like, from that, you know, there was no turning back. And I can say, you know, from our very first events, you know, we started off by doing a lot of street events. And so just being able to learn, you know, the real nitty and gritty, you know, the hustle and bustle, you know, of, you know, the food truckers, you know, and the vendors, you know, that have to set up, and, you know, so just being able to learn that lifestyle, like almost our first year of the business, I can say, like, it helped us, you know, it helped us a lot. It helped us a lot, yeah.
And I think just coming from where we come as a couple is struggle and not really having much is, even though, you know, we lived years of not having much when it comes to, you know, materials, we always had each other and we always had soul and love, and to us that's what richness was, right? So we always continued to chase that uphill battle of what we could overcome together as a couple, and that's allowed us to kind of embrace every relationship that we have with different souls. And I think just like when we met you, you know, like you said, it was an instant connection. We knew we didn't know what we were going to do or build together, but we knew we were going to build together.
Exactly.
So for us, it's like we know there's nobody else out there that's going to promote our business or go get us new clients. So when we meet people or good souls, we take advantage of that, I feel like, and that's what has allowed us to build such a unique clientele, and it's so diversified, from people who have 10 or 12 kids and they can barely put food on the table to someone like Jamie Foxx, you know, we see him on TV every day. So
that's so
it's
real.
just, yeah, like you said, it's just the ascent has been uphill, and it all comes from the struggle. Is we know we want better and we're not stopping, and when we do get the opportunity to do something, we don't care what we have to put at stake or put at risk. We will do that investment to make it happen. Whether that's, you know, jeopardizing our 9 to 5s or whatever it may be. I feel like when it came to our business, we always went all out. Yeah. And always, I feel like we've always trusted ourselves. So,
yes. Like we never second guessed investing in ourselves. So once that opportunity came to us, we never second guessed it, you know. So we always took the opportunities, you know, and whether how much the investment was, you know, we always took that sacrifice, you know, and it's gotten us here. And you know, just for people, you know, just to come in contact with, you know, with us, you know, and do, you know, group ventures with us, and then later on be impacted, you know, to let someone know that, hey, these are some of the most, you know, free-spirited people. I think these people should cook for you, you know, and that's how a lot of our events, you know, have started, you know, word of mouth, you know, just real love, you know. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, you know.
I would just add for anyone that's listening that is maybe starting their business, and you know, sometimes you start growing faster than you anticipate. And for us, we started getting requests for a lot of high-end clients that required us to have equipment that we necessarily haven't purchased yet, or we haven't invested in yet. So when we're doing some of our first events, it's not really profit, right? We're just investing in ourselves. So take that time to invest in yourself.
And
even
learn.
till today, we're still students of life, and we're still investing in ourselves and our business. So don't ever feel scared of putting into your business and yourself, which has allowed us to ascend. Back to your question is, how did we start ascending? As I feel that it goes back to that.
Yeah.
Well, through the ascension, we know it hasn't all been peaches and cream. So I want to get to really one of the main points I want to emphasize, you know, on this podcast, on this channel, about the challenges and how people were able to get through that, because we all go through that, just going through life, no matter what we're doing. And so I know you've had challenges. I wanted to specifically bring up the word fear, and you know, what does that word mean to you, both as a couple, as individuals, as a business, and really just as an idea? You know, like, what does the word fear mean for both of you, especially from your background and where both of you are from, and the struggles that you've had to overcome? I know that fear must have been something that was a big kind of hurdle for you.
Yeah. I would say for me personally, I was a silver spoon child growing up. You know, I had everything. My parents were really wealthy, and as soon as I met this man here and decided that I wanted to start my life with him, I had to literally leave everything behind because of my cultural background. It took my parents a lot of time to accept that I was with someone outside of the race. So as us as a couple, when we first, came together, we didn't have anything. We started from ground zero, and for me, that was a completely new thing. I'm used to having everything. I've never struggled a day in my life, and he comes from a completely different world where he struggled his whole life. So for us, it was really, as a couple, the word fear, I think, because we've been so down and we failed so much. I mean, anything you can imagine as far as being evicted to barely having enough money to eat your next meal. We've been through all of that. So for us, as a business and as a unit and as husband and wife, it's that fear of failure, the fear of failure again. We've been at the bottom and we never want to be there again. So as we keep growing and as we keep evolving, I think when the word fear is something that lingers in all of us, right? But I think for us, as we've allowed so much positivity to overtake our life, that when we think about fear, it's just something that just comes and goes. When it does happen, we know how to overcome it. It's never stopped us. But I think my fear personally comes from where we come from, is not having anything. I mean, we've lived so many years of our lives where we didn't know what we wanted to do in life, but we knew that we wanted to do something great. So we kept living for that purpose and kept searching for our purpose. And now that we've found it, it's the fear of losing it, and we never want to lose how far we've came and who we've became. And like you said, is everything we've been through has shaped us to who we are today. So for me, personally, as his business partner and his wife, is I just want to make sure that I'm continuing to do my end of the stick to make sure I keep the business together and he's cooking the food, because I have the fear of losing everything that we took so long to create. We curated this, like you said, from an idea to where we are now, and like they say, it's harder to maintain than it is to get. So we're in that bubble right now where, we've reached a point where we have ongoing clients, and we're running our business full time. So it's just continuing to do that, is maintaining that is where it comes from. And for us as a couple, I think if we keep striving towards positivity, that fear will just keep transcending and going farther away from us.
Yeah, and like me, as a young teen growing up, single mother, and all the difficulties, that come with that, I can say like fear was instilled in me at a very young age. And it's taken me a lot of life, to just really dissect, what the meaning of fear is, and what it meant to me, and how it impacted me. And like how I am today, I feel like there's nothing in the world that can stop me. I'm in a very, very good mental state, very, very good mental state. And I believe, that's due to understanding exactly what is fear, and I used to allow fear, to have a stronghold over my life, due to, what my mom had to deal with. My mother, she's schizophrenic, bipolar, so I had to see a lot, I had to help her, go through a lot, and I'm still helping her today. But for me, just to be able to experience situations like that, it gives me, more of a compassion for life, and it shows me, that fear is what you instill, fear is what you make it, you can choose, to go around and live in a box, and live in fear, and let it run your life, That's only gonna take you so far, and we all have choices, Some of us, we don't have our break until much older, Some of us, we have that break a lot sooner, but I really feel that we're capable of, we're very capable of just controlling a lot more than what we think, with just our minds. you know, with just our minds, you know, and being able to, you know, put natural substances into our body, it's only going to help the human body even more, you know, do its job, yeah, you know, and like fear for me, you know, it used to control my life, you know, it used to control my life, you know, but as I kept growing, you know, and I kept, like, you know, just living life, you know, and just sacrificing, you know, and, you know, just understanding exactly, you know, why I had to go through this, or, you know, whatever it may be, you know, it taught me that I'm much stronger than fear, you know what I mean? And fear to me is almost like a tag, you know, it's almost like a tag to me, you know. So I feel, you know, spiritually strong, you know, to the point where everything as far as negativity, as far as fear, you know, as far as whatever, you know, that energy is pushing out, I feel, you know, that's nonchalant to me, you know. I feel that has a zero impact on my life, you know, and I can wake up every day, you know, and strive to be the best person I can be, you know, for my wife and for my mother and, you know, for my family, you know, and you know, that yeah, so, you know, there's no limit. There's no limit. Yeah, there's no limit. Once we got over that hurdle, you know, of fear, you know, of losing our business, you know, of maybe not making it, you know, or maybe not making it to the next month, you know, like getting over, you know, those months and knowing how strong we really are, you know, it just shows us exactly how much that we can really overcome. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. I really appreciate both of you being open about that, you know, difficult topic, but it's something that we all experience and struggle with, a word that follows, you know, us all. I definitely can resonate with some of your comments that you made. Like growing up for me, I had an uncle who had schizophrenia, and it was always a fear of mine that was going to end up being me, you know, with some of the hereditary implications and the genetic implications of that disease. And I know that at some point, you know, it just became like a serenity prayer sort of thing where, you know, you can control what you can control, and everything else, you know, why let it stress you? My friend and business partner Malik was telling me earlier today that, you know, when you live in the past, that's depression. When you live in the future, that's anxiety. But when you live in the present, that's peacefulness. Wow. And I think that that definitely applies to even the concept of fear, because usually it's about thinking about something from, you know, behind catching up to you, or thinking about something in the future in a negative light of what's going to happen if this doesn't happen.
And that's so true. And that's crazy how heavily that just impacted me, you know, like, and that's crazy. That's crazy, you know, just to think about that, you know. That's crazy, you know. Like I used to, you know, always, you know, wonder, like, before I even thought, you know, before I even gave it a thought, you know, what is it, you know, that's bringing me down? You know, why is it that I can't talk to my wife? You know, why is it that I can't talk to, you know, my loved ones that's close to me? You know, and, you know, like, what has me in this dark place? You know, and, you know, so me being able to accept that, you know, I maybe have a depression problem, you know, it led me, you know, just to get to know myself even more, you know, and just to get to learn more about myself, you know. And, you know, and that resonate, you know, with me, you know, so strongly, you know, and that's brilliant, you know, that's brilliant, yeah, you know, and I can only just accept it from now, you know, I can only just accept it from now, you know, and, you know, and just pray, and just hope for the best, you know, just pray and hope for the best, you know, and just have that positive, clear mind state, yeah, you know, and the sky's the limit from there, yeah, that's it, yeah.
I wanted to end on flipping that question a little bit, speaking about the word fear. Let's go to a different word. You guys pick, you know, a word that defines your story, whether that's together, as a business, as a marriage, individually. I just want to know, a word or, multiple words that describe your story and why.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, if I could think of one word off the top of my head, I don't mean to sound cliche, but I would always pick love. Is, we've been through so much turmoil, whether that was my family, his family, or just individual things we were dealing with, and we always resorted back to love. As there was moments where we didn't know if we were going to make it, and or if our relationship or our business or whatever it may be was going to make it, and we always resort back to love. And I think if you have that true love and that foundation of love, there's nothing else that could take the place of that or beat that. And personally for myself too, and us as a couple, I think that's the one word that defines us, because we've grown so much in love and have learned so much from love, and who we are today is because of how we've loved each other and how we love the people that are close to us. So that's kind of one word I would pick that defines both of us together collectively.
And we maybe, haven't loved the way, people close to us necessarily, would like, but, it's always been genuine, and that love's always been the same, like that old, incident where, you meet a friend, that you haven't seen in 10, 20 years, but when you do see that friend, it's like you guys just left off, and it's that passion, and that love that we, love to be blinded with, and just, go out our everyday life with, whether it's doing our events or, whatever the case may be, we take that on head on, with just, real unconditional love, so,
Spreading it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a beautiful dichotomy there, because they always say, love and fear, whether it's marketing or whether it's, different forms of society, those are kind of in combat with each other all the time. So, people either drawn through love and doing something on passion, or sometimes fear even motivates people. And there's always that combination of, opposites somehow being the same. So I love that kind of came together, pun intended. But I love how that came together with those choice of words. And I think, speaking of dichotomies and the yin and yang, that's what this business represents. That's what this relationship, that's what I see, the diversity of it, the different energies and forces that you guys have, but working in unison now and working, that's what drew me to you when we first met in LA. And I'm so happy to be living this actualization of having this podcast with you in your presence. And I wish both of you nothing but the most success. And I hope that, this episode, this podcast will help you along the journey.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
So thanks for being on.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for having us.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you, my man.
I want to give a big thank you to ThemJoneses for being a part and involved of this podcast series, and for being so open and transparent about their challenges and how they've overcome them and where they're at on their journey. If you want to support them on their journey, make sure you follow them at ThemJoneses. Book them for your next event, or just book them to cook dinner for you one time. It's a goal of mine to make a big media collaboration with them in the future, so stay tuned. And if you want to stay tuned to this podcast, feel free to subscribe, give a listen, give a comment, write a review. We'll make sure that we shout you out on the next episode, and it does a lot to help this show. So thanks again so much for listening and being a part of it. My name is Amechi. It's Positive Talk. Cheers.